Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. My name is Aaron, and across my living room from me today, longtime friend of the show, and I don't know how it's taken us 72 episodes to have you on. Welcome to the show, Natasha Blaine.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I also don't know how it's been 72 episodes, but I am so excited to be here today.
Because I'm pretty sure I knew you when I started the podcast, too, back in 2020.
That sounds about right. I think we
summer.
met and we definitely knew each other in 2020.
Yeah. When did you move here?
So I moved here in 2018 for school.
You were at Vanderbilt?
I went to Vanderbilt. Yeah, Vanderbilt. And,
Someone's a smarty pants.
Well,
lots of people apply to get into Vandy, and me didn't get accepted.
Well, I mean, I transferred there, so, it's a...
Well, welcome to the show. Like you almost beat me to the punch. We start every episode by asking our guest how we met. So I don't remember how you and I met. Would you regale the tale?
I would love to.
I didn't mean to rhyme.
Okay, I think this is right. So I think I met some person, like some songwriter at a networking event, and this is like 2019 maybe.
So you were like a freshman or sophomore?
Well, I was a junior at that point because I transferred schools.
Okay.
But it was like I had like just been in Nashville for a little
Right.
bit, and I was really just kind of starting to try to branch out and like play some open mics. And I had a friend, her name's Molly Murphy. She told me about Nashville Tour Stop, and she was
Shout out
like,
Molly Murphy.
you gotta check this out. The guy who hosts it, his name's Aaron. He's really cool. You should totally come and meet him. And I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure you booked me before we met.
Did I?
I think so.
By golly, that means we could probably go back in my Instagram DMs with you and find the first message.
Dude, I don't remember. But all I know is that it was, what was that the bar in Midtown?
That narrows it down.
No. Oh, God. It's like the sports bar, and then they changed it. It's a new thing now.
South?
No. You used to host rounds there.
I used to host rounds there. Oh, gosh. Where did I used to host?
It was like a sports bar.
Live Oak?
Yes, Live Oak.
Live Oak.
Live Oak. Okay, yes. So it was there.
Okay.
And I remember the round. It was like one of my first writers' rounds.
I do remember this.
Yeah. And like,
I remember you played one of those first shows I ever booked there.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And I was so excited because like, I mean, I hadn't really been getting out. I hadn't played many writers' rounds at all at this point. And like, everyone was so good, and it was just like such a fun experience, like meeting everybody. People were so friendly. Like, of course, like talking to you, I was like, this guy Aaron's
So that
sick.
would have been like right before the big Nashville tornado.
Yeah.
So we met, and that
Yes.
would have been early 2020 when we, I think, formally met then.
I think that's true. Yeah, because then COVID happened.
Yeah, Nashville really got double dipped on having a bad March.
Yes. Definitely. Thankfully, I was out of town for that tornado.
Where were you when that happened?
I was in Paris.
Oh, hard flex.
Yeah. Okay. So that week happened to be spring break for us at Vanderbilt. And I went on this wonderful trip with my friends to Paris and London.
Cool.
And yeah, I just like woke up one morning to like a million texts from everyone I know saying like, are you okay? Like, did you get hit? Like, what's going on? Is the power out? And I'm like, what just happened? I just woke up. I'm in France.
You're like, did something happen here that I don't know about?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. God.
I remember waking up to dozens of those text messages that same morning, and it was overwhelming because like I'm not prepared to have 72 conversations right now.
Yeah.
So I think I just made like a copy and paste and sent it to everyone. It's like, yes, I am okay. Yes, I was very close to it. No, my house was not damaged. Thank you for your inquiry.
Where were you living at the time?
I lived in East Nashville at the time.
Oh, so you were like
I lived over in
area.
Cleveland Park, and the big, like, I guess, eye of the storm.
Yeah, sure.
No, that's the part where there's no
No, it's
No
like
danger.
I think that's a
But
hurricane.
somewhere like the direct path of the tornado went not too far away. We missed it by about, I think it was like 3 blocks or so.
Damn.
So I was very close. My house was
Damn.
shaking, but it wasn't damaged, fortunately.
Dude, that's so scary. Like I'm from Seattle,
Mhm.
and we do not have tornadoes there, as you may guess. So like
It just rains all the time.
yeah, it's gray. It's gray. Like it's not a lot of like active raining like here.
Is it just a
Sometimes it'll
slow
just
drizzle?
like rain, but it's just like a slow, sad drizzle that lasts for 10 months out of the year. My God.
Just kind of a constant, just moist air. I bet the humidity is terrible.
I mean, it's cold. So yeah, I guess.
Does it snow?
A little bit, maybe like once a year.
Too close to
Not-
the ocean to actually get snow.
You know it, science.
Right.
Yes.
Because you are right there on the ocean, aren't you?
Right there on the ocean. Yeah. Believe it or not, I actually grew up on an island, not in the ocean, in a lake.
Do you ever miss living near the water like that?
Oh, 100%.
All the time.
Yeah. That is like I love Nashville so much. Like there are so many things that I adore about the city, and I really don't see myself leaving anytime soon. But the one thing is there's no water and there's no mountains.
Yep.
And the Smoky Mountains don't count.
A little heartbreaking. This is the only landlocked state I was willing to move to that didn't have anything fun to do. Like,
Yeah.
I for a long time thought about moving to Denver because of its proximity to the mountains, and I mean the mountains, that it's just there.
It's so beautiful.
Or moving to New York, or like maybe New Orleans or Los Angeles, because I was just like, I need to be near nature.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think like that's one thing about Nashville that's like, you know, there are some hikes. I actually went on a hike on Saturday with some of my friends, which
Where
was
did
nice.
you go?
Oh, it's called Fontenelle.
Uh-huh.
Do you know where that is?
I know what you're talking
Okay.
about, just because there's like streets named after it.
Yeah, I really honestly am still not sure what it was. It looked like an old rundown summer camp with
That
like a
sounds
zip
sketchy.
lining. I was like, are we in the right place? But then, you know, you keep walking and then you find a trail and, you know, it worked out. We came back.
Yeah, I do miss the nature-y stuff, because I've always wanted to live in a big metropolitan city like this, but it's hard to get anywhere with nature because we're just so far from everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And the city's like Nashville's a good size. And like if you go out of Nashville a little bit, you'll find like some stuff, but it's not like
Yeah, you can go to Gatlinburg and get the
guess.
Smoky Mountains, but
I've never been there.
it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
And I don't want to just look out over the hills of central Tennessee and marvel at the hills, at the actual green hills.
They have actual green hills.
Yes, we do have actual green hills.
It's a great description.
So why did you choose Nashville if you were so in love with the nature-y stuff?
Yeah, so kind of a long story. So like I kind of mentioned before, I grew up in Seattle, and my first 2 years of college, I went to the University of Washington in Seattle, like
Gotcha.
15 minutes from where I grew up. I didn't really want to go there, but at the time, like I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was just kind of deciding like if I wanted to even try to do music, and I ended up just going to the state school because, you know, I got a good scholarship, and it was something that like it seemed like the type of place that I would like. Like I
Right.
joined a sorority. I was really involved in an a cappella group, which was my favorite part of that whole
I was in an a
experience.
cappella group too.
No freaking way.
What was
Aaron.
yours called?
It was called Fermata a cappella.
Oh, that's way better. Mine
No,
was
why-
Mules to Men.
Wait, it's what?
Our college mascot was the mule. Yeah.
Were you an all male a cappella group?
Yep.
That
Mules
makes-
to Men. We were trying to
Yes.
make it clever, like Boys to Men, but
Well,
it was not the same.
to make the name of mine worse, it's Fermata, but it's spelled with a U, like F-U-R, because the mascot is a husky.
Uh-huh.
So then it's like a Fermata, which like doesn't really work unless
I
unless
get
you
it.
know all the layers. I always hated it, but I loved the group.
You
that
loved
was
being
like,
part of it.
yeah. And
What
that
part
was
did you sing?
I sang alto 2.
Alto 2.
Alto 2.
I was a bass
always.
2.
Ooh, okay. Wow.
Mhm.
That's kind of, I'm
Use
surprised.
my low voice.
You're like the bass line.
Down here in the South, I just call it my Johnny Cash.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, well, besides the acapella group, I quickly realized that I did not want to live in Seattle anymore. And I also was just getting the feeling that like I love doing music. I love singing. I love playing guitar. I love performing. And I wasn't focusing on that. I was kind of in a world where like nobody I knew really did music, and nobody I knew like was involved in that in any capacity outside of like school. So I decided like secretly applying to some schools to transfer to. And I ended up applying to USC and Vanderbilt. And I ended up getting into both. And this is like, I ended up going abroad like my last semester of school there because I was like, I got to get out of Seattle. So
what we're also learning is that you've traveled quite a bit.
I have. I'm very lucky.
But continue on the destination Nashville story.
Yes. So I was in London doing a study abroad program, which, you know, it sounds great, but it's had its issues. But yeah, I like got into both of those schools, and the safe choice for me was USC because I have a lot of family in LA, and you know, they've got a great music school and whatever. But I had been to Nashville once in high school, like to record something for a choir I was in. And I just had always thought in the back of my mind, like, I would love to live in that city. I don't know, like, how or if or when that would ever happen. And when I got into Vanderbilt, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Nashville. And, you know, I'm still getting a degree. I'm still gonna graduate from Vanderbilt, which is great.
It's a great school.
Yeah. But my main reason was just to be in a music city. So
your proximity to music here is just everywhere you go, it's around you.
Yeah.
It's almost harder to find bars that don't have music.
It's like hard to find people who don't somehow do music or work in music. Right.
It's like every time I meet somebody who's not in the industry at all, it's like meeting a unicorn.
Exactly.
The joke I always like to make is like, oh, I shouldn't be surprised. It'd be crazy if you told me you were like a crane operator just like helping build the skyline of Nashville. But no, everyone's either a doctor or a musician.
I mean, it's Nashville. Or they work at Amazon. They have that now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if Nashville came into the picture in 2018, when did music come into your life as a kid?
Yeah. So when I was like kindergarten, like maybe like 5 or 6 years old, like I always just loved singing. And I remember when I was like 5 years old, I was always like singing to myself in kindergarten, and like people thought I was weird. And like my teacher was like, wow, you just love humming, don't you? And I remember her telling me that as we were walking to the bus. And so my grandmother on my mom's side is a huge fan of jazz, and like she's not a musician per se herself, but she's just a very big fan of music, and she's like done church choir and stuff. So she like noticed like my kind of ability and like my magnetism towards music when I was like really young, and she asked my mom if she should maybe enroll me in some voice lessons. So I started doing voice lessons when I was 6 with a teacher named Miss Laura. Yeah.
I started music pretty young as well. My dad being the music pastor at the church I grew up in, I'd never really had an option to not be part of the family band, as it were. But he gave me piano lessons when I was probably starting to be like 4 or 5, because I remember clear as day the very first time I ever performed. It was during one of like, he used to give recitals at the church. Like he would learn like classical music and stuff. And there was an intermission act at one of his shows, and it was me playing a song called Mississippi Hot Dog.
Oh my God. I would kill to hear this song.
Yep. I played a
Mississippi
song.
Hot Dog.
I played a song called Mississippi Hot Dog, and I remember like rehearsing like the bow at the end with my dad because I was so scared. But that was when I got started with playing Mississippi Hot Dog.
You're like, this is it. This is me. Do you remember how the song goes?
Mississippi hot dog, Mississippi hot dog, Mississippi hot dog, ooh. That's it.
Complicated.
And then there was a round of applause for little child Aaron.
I'm sure that was adorable.
It was adorable. I can still picture it in my head. It's one of my earliest memories.
Oh my God. I remember my first recital with singing. I remember I was like so excited. I was so excited because I was singing Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid.
Cool.
Which was my favorite song. I loved Ariel. And yeah, it was a great time.
How old were you?
Probably 6.
6?
Yeah.
Man, look at us.
Look at us.
Who would have thought? So music was really part of your life always.
Yeah, it's been like the one constant thing in my life. I feel
cool.
like that I every day, come back to.
So when you actually started like growing up and started doing more, when did songwriting become part of the musicianship, so to speak?
So I grew up, it's really interesting because I grew up like loving to write.
Okay.
And I remember I wrote all these poems and like I did write some songs when I was little. I actually remember the first song I wrote. It's called Life.
Wow.
And like, believe it or not, but I think it was a blues song.
Really?
I still remember it.
Wow.
And it was based on the board game Life.
Oh.
I wrote a song about that.
I,
as like
surprisingly
a
enough,
7-year-old.
also wrote a song about the board game of life.
What?
Yes.
You're kidding me.
It's literally called The Game of Life. That's what the song is called.
Is this like a song you wrote recently?
I wrote it maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I was in college.
Huh.
But
What are
I
the
referenced a
odds?
bunch of other board games in it.
See, mine was not like, I don't think I finished it. I think I started, the first verse was like, you start out as a baby, and I don't really remember the rest.
Here, let me
Like, where
pull
else
up
do
the
we go
lyrics
from there?
to mine. See how this goes. I bet it's on my phone still. Oh yeah, it's still here. Called The Game of Life. It starts with the verse 1 saying, I didn't watch where I was going. I couldn't stop myself from taking a dare. There's no way to stop it. I'll always wind up there. I won't pass go. I won't collect $200. And I'm always taking a chance. No matter how many times I see the stars align, I'm a victim of a circumstance.
Ooh.
I was so dramatic.
That's really dramatic.
Yeah, but the chorus says, I'm holding on to the pieces just because I need it. I don't want to put it back on a shelf. The Jenga tower's getting taller. I'm watching people getting smaller, and I can't get over myself. Ashes, ashes, as it all falls down. I'll take another roll of the dice, because love is just a gamble in this big, bad game of life.
Ooh. Okay,
Ooh.
that's got a different angle than my song.
Mine was very dramatic.
Mine was, yeah, I'm just surprised. Why did I write a blues song as a 7-year-old? I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, after
How old were
this-
you when you wrote that first song?
Probably like 7.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty young.
I was talking to Ava Sapelsa not long ago about writing songs when you're really young, when you don't really like know how to write a melody or something.
Mhm.
She would write the words down and then just write arrows up and down on like
Oh,
if she
that's
wanted
so
to go
funny.
higher or lower. And it's funny seeing old notebooks like that and being like, wow, I really have come a long ways.
Yeah.
Getting to see the progress actually happen in real time,
Yes.
even if the real time is 20 years.
Yeah. No, that's.
When did you
that's
write
really
your first
funny.
song that you felt like you'd accomplished something?
So yeah, I was on and off with writing songs, and honestly, like all throughout high school and college, for like most of college, I didn't really know if I wanted to pursue music for my life.
Okay.
I would write a few songs. Like I started taking guitar lessons when I was like 12 or maybe no, I was like 10, and I kept taking those like through middle school. So when I started taking guitar, I started writing some songs, and like, they were just all kind of love songs that were not very good. But my dad did post a video of me performing one of my songs, and somebody commented on it, "Not so good, ... And
brutal.
Scarred me.
Oh, God.
I was like, Dad, don't post my songs on the internet.
That's one of those things that sucks about being a musician is you have to bare your soul to an unknown audience, and there's a chance that they're just gonna be like, this sucks.
Yeah, and they don't care because they're hiding behind their Facebook. Yeah, I mean, still get those today, but yeah. And then so once I was like in college, and when I kind of set my mind to like leaving Seattle, I started like getting really more serious with songwriting, and I started just like practicing and writing every day. I bought a bunch of like books on how to write songs because I'd never done that before. And yeah, when I got to Vanderbilt in 2018, I started, I like enrolled in the jazz program. So I got a vocal jazz minor, which was awesome.
What was your major?
My major was English.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the first things you and I talked about because I was an English major as well.
I remember that. And that, love English majors. We have no idea what we're doing.
Look at us just being English majors.
Look at us
who want to be around nature.
We just...
Yeah, I do remember deciding like that because technically my degree was called General Studies, but my last 4 semesters of college were all English classes because I had done so long of like music major stuff that the only other thing they would give me was a General Studies degree, which is like, you've given us enough money, please leave. Here's your paperwork for it. But all of the English classes, it started adding up to me. The reason I enjoyed those more than the others was because it was reading and writing. And moreover, it was writing than anything else. And I was in a class because of however my credits fell. I was in a class with a grad student teacher that was younger than me. And I had taken like English 4000 or whatever it was, like the highest level undergraduate English classes. And then my academic advisor messed up so badly, they forgot that I hadn't taken English 1000. So to finish my degree, my senior semester, like my very last semester of college, I was taking English 1000 with freshmen.
Oh my God.
Fall semester freshmen with that graduate student teacher who was younger than me.
Was it easy at least?
It was the easiest class I had ever taken.
Okay, well, hell yeah.
Because it was literally like, it was one of those like core classes you have to take no matter what major you are.
Oh.
And it was so easy that the grad student was having me help grade paperwork because I had already taken all of the classes. So I was in this English 1000 class. Just the big writing assignment was just journal. Just write down how you feel.
Oh my God.
You don't have to share it with the class. Just write a page a day. And I was like, dude, all right. Anything else this easy? Are we reading anything this semester? He goes, just read whatever makes you happy. It's like, bro, sweet.
Wow.
So that was my senior semester.
That sounds really nice. My last semester, oh God, I took so many cool classes in college and I miss it. But I had this, I mean, like sort of. But I had this one class. It was a class on ekphrastic poetry, which is like poetry about art, which is like, a very niche thing
art
to have an entire
art.
It's just poetry about art. So like this whole class, we would just like look at a painting during the class, and she would like tell us about the painting, and then we'd read one poem in class together, and then there wasn't really any reading, and we wrote 1 2-page essay that was like basically just like talk about why this poem is like the painting.
Oh my
and then she canceled our final.
What? That's awesome.
I was like, all right, let's go. Let's graduate.
I was in a couple of other classes at the same time as that English 1000 that were not as easy. One of which was an African-American literature class. And I had to write, I think it was in the one semester, I think I wrote 135 papers.
What?
Yeah, we did 2 a week minimum. So it was like, it was like a Tuesday, Thursday class. So we had to have a short paper written between Tuesday and Thursday, and then a long paper written between Thursday and Tuesday. And we did that at least twice a week. Sometimes they were more like reading assignments or whatever, but oh my gosh. I at least had my work cut out for me in the English 1000 class.
Damn.
All of this is to say I'm very glad to not be in college now.
Yeah, me too. Once you said that, I was like, I don't want to write an essay ever again in my life.
Did your family ask you to go to graduate school?
No. I mean, well, my dad, I think he still has hope. I think every once in a while.
I think my parents are the same way. They're like, maybe someday he'll have like a regular job.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think my dad is like, well, you know, you can go to graduate school for a lot of things. Like he'll just like slip that into the conversation. Right. And I'm like,
no.
Well, first of all, am I spending all this money on school?
No.
Also, I don't want to do anything that you need a graduate degree for.
Same.
You don't need to be a graduate student to be an artist.
I remember my dad asking what, not if I was doing graduate school. He's like, what are you doing for graduate school? And I was like, I'm not. Sorry.
God. Yeah.
I'm going to Nashville and I'll be poor there instead of being poor in Columbia, Missouri.
Sounds more fun here.
Yeah. But so you moved here in 2018.
Yes.
And when did you start taking music more seriously, thinking this could be a career for you?
So, yeah, when I moved here, I started like doing some performances like with Vanderbilt, like some different clubs on campus. Like I just started off with that. And, you know, at the time, like I hadn't done a ton of like performing with just like playing guitar. I was not a good guitar player at this time.
You're a good guitar player now.
Well, I've worked on it a lot. And yeah, I mean, I remember the first show I played here. It was like one of the music clubs at Vanderbilt like put on some showcase, and I only sang 2 songs. And I remember I was like so nervous.
Really?
So nervous. And like all my friends came, and then I thought I like messed up some chords, and I just was like freaking out. And I like remember calling my mom after, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. That was horrible. But of course,
thank God that didn't.
Not what happened.
That didn't stick.
Yeah. So after that, I mean, I started like, I guess that summer of 2019, I started doing some like open mics. I started writing with some people that I was meeting.
Okay.
And then eventually got involved with Tour Stop. And at this point, like I was writing a lot.
You're a force to be reckoned with now.
So, yeah, well, and like that
everyone knows Natasha Blaine.
Oh, wow.
Local celebrity sitting in my living room.
Oh, come on. You're a local celebrity. Get out of here.
How about both of us? I'll take my D- celebrity status.
I'll take my F.
No, it's so funny thinking about that. Like, I'm not famous by any stretch, but in my tiny little bubble, I am. Like, I'm popular in 2 bars. Like,
people know you. People know you who you don't know.
Ooh.
Right?
Go on, gas me up, girl.
But isn't that crazy? Like, does that happen?
It is
to
crazy.
You?
I was looking at the submission list for Tour Stop this morning, actually, because I've been booking all of our shows in my, quote, free time. But the list is just, it's overwhelmingly long. We've got, I think, something like 750 unanswered submissions.
Oh, shit. That's a lot.
It's overwhelming because I don't have that many spots to book right now or ever.
Yeah.
But it sucks because I want to get people involved, and it's hard. It's hard letting people know, like, sorry, it's taken me 9 months to email you. I'd love to have you play now.
Yeah. Well, that's something that, like, COVID was awful, but that's something about COVID. And like so COVID happened, I got kicked out of my dorm and had to move back to Seattle with my parents for a few months.
You got kicked out of your dorm?
Yeah. Oh my God, this was such
story time.
Story time. So, you know, I'm in Paris, right? I get back and I'm like ready to like start school like the next day. The classes resumed like the next day. So I like get home and I get this email. No, I was in a write. I remember this. I was in a write and I get an email saying like due to the coronavirus concerns, we are moving classes online for the next 2 weeks. And then we were all like, hell yeah, that's going to be so fun. We can just hang out and do our classes online. But then the next day they sent another email saying, Just kidding. You need to be out of your dorm in the next 3 days.
Woof. That was the COVID shutdown?
Yep.
Wow.
So I had no choice but to...
Got kicked out of your dorm.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. It's okay. It was a piece of shit dorm. It was not
That's
great.
a nice welcome home.
Yeah.
I almost got kicked out of my dorm in my freshman year, but for a different reason. I was a little hellraiser.
Okay.
And I lived directly across the hall from the RA named Haley, I think it was. But she hated me so much. So much because I corralled all the dudes on my floor to just be loud 19-year-old boys playing video games, staying up late.
Yeah.
And I violated quiet hours all the time. And they're like, give us your ID. We're writing you up. And I'm like, who cares? Here, whatever. And that sounded a lot scarier when I was 19. But I forget exactly how it came to pass. But during finals week once, we were supposed to have like 24/7 quiet hours, like all day long for people to study. No, who does that? But something happened and I was too loud in my room. And the RA wrote me up without telling me and submitted me to the RD to have me kicked out of get kicked out of the dorm. So I had to have an interview with the RD where she's like, okay, so this is the complaint from your RA saying you were in the dorm at this time, like being really loud. And this has been a reoccurring problem. And it happened so perfectly. Because when the RA told me that I was like, or told the person that I was like being loud, filing paperwork without telling me, I was in a final. I wasn't even in the dorm. So
my God.
The RD then took it to believe that the RA was writing me up when I wasn't there all the time. So he got my entire record expunged.
Oh my God.
Because she got caught lying once. All the other times were true. But this one time, she was just like, she's been writing you up when you weren't on campus. And I was like, yep. She goes, wow. So I got away with it.
That's really great.
Yep. So
wow.
I almost got kicked out of the dorm.
Yeah, that's a very different situation. Very different. But that's great. I'm glad you didn't get kicked out.
I know. I ended up transferring schools anyways, but that's a whole other story. But hey, let's take a quick break and we'll come right back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast here today with Natasha, Blaine in my living room.
Hi.
Thank you again for coming over. I know you live on a little bit different part of town, but it's not too far away.
It took me like 15 minutes to get here.
That's not too bad.
It's
not like I'm asking you to drive to Hermitage.
Yeah, that would be more of a hassle.
Yeah. I have a good buddy named Duncan Vinci whose episode actually just came out not too long ago, but he lives over in Hermitage, and I forget how it timed out that he and I had made plans to hang out at his house. We were going to have pizza and just play some video games, and he didn't tell me, or like, I guess he technically did, but it didn't click how far away he lives. So from here, it's like a 35-minute drive. I think it was like a 40-mile round trip. And then it also timed out to where the next day I also had to go back to his house for a band rehearsal.
Oh,
so
my God.
I made like an 80-mile round trip to and from his house. Like it's so far.
I don't know how people do it.
Me
who live
neither.
So far away.
I understand better now why some of my friends don't come into town more often. It's because they live so far.
Yeah. I'm like, if I'm not here, like literally 5 minutes from things, I will not do anything. Like, I need to be in the city.
When I lived in Antioch, I never came into town because it's so far.
Yeah.
It's like I live 25 minutes away, no traffic.
That's
and there's
just
never
so
no traffic.
Much. That's so much. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have been putting music out for a while. Let's talk about that some. What was the first single you put out when you moved here in Nashville? Or was this the first single ever?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had some songs that I like, demo recorded. But my first song that I released was called Good Woman. It was one that I started playing at Nashville Tour Stop rounds.
Oh, really?
And
that was one of those old days?
Yeah, it was like one of those songs. I think I probably played that the first round you booked me on. It's like a murder song. You know, it still holds a special place in my heart. But that song just has like so much emotion and like
that's the song about killing somebody, right?
Yeah, it's the song where the woman kills the guy.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a lot. But
talk about heavy.
Yeah.
Only one of us is getting out alive. What a line.
I know. I know.
Hopefully not inspired by Drew Evans.
Yeah. So I released that, and I started working with my good friend Alan Fine, who I think
Finite Alan
on Instagram. He's the best. We started recording music together, like around that time, like maybe like 2019, like throughout COVID, early 2020, and I wanted to work with him on like a bunch of songs that I had. And I also had like an idea that I wanted to do some jazz standards that have really inspired me and like been a big part of my life. Yeah.
That's cool.
And kind of like, you know, do our own spin on it. Like not necessarily have them in the super jazzy sort of traditional style. And he was so much fun to work with on like this first song, Good Woman, that I decided to do the whole project with him, and we ended up releasing, I think it was like 6 songs on that EP. 2 of them are covers. It's called "I Fall in Love Too Easily." That's the title.
That's
of the
a
EP.
terrific song.
It's
your rendition is so wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love that song. And
if you haven't inferred from our conversation already, Natasha's genre adjacent to jazz of sorts.
Yeah, it's like jazzy. It's now leaning towards more like soul pop. And yeah, so this EP came out in June of 2021, and this was like, it was a huge deal for me because this was the first time I'd really like seriously done the release thing, and like it was so much trial and error with putting things together. And at this point I was like just starting to play with my band. So this is the same band that I'm still playing with today. I'm very, very lucky. That's incredible
also, just being able to stick with the same people.
Dude, I am just so blessed with these people that I have in my life. Like they are some of my
band relationship work.
Yeah. Well, these guys are some of my like favorite people, like really good friends. We have such a fun time together just playing music and just hanging out. Like it's so much fun to like bring, you know, if I write a new song or something and I don't have like a super fleshed out demo, like sometimes I'll just bring it into a rehearsal and we just kind of mess around with it. And like somebody offers one suggestion for an arrangement, and then like I kind of say what I had in mind. And it's really fun and collaborative in just like the best way. And I know that like, you know, we're all, it feels like we're really, really part of a group when we're playing. And
it's good that you've been with the same people so long, because it also means that if they do come to you with an idea for an arrangement, you can trust that it's going to be good for the band dynamic, instead of just like, oh, I think should be the guitar solo because I want to play a fancy guitar solo. And then they're like, no, they're trying to create something for the unit as a whole rather than just perhaps their selfish musicianship, playing skills, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And like, I think all of us bring in, like with any band, all of us have our own like styles and our own like strengths that we bring to the table. And like, I mean, there's a lot of things that are now in my songs, like especially the new stuff that hasn't come out yet. A lot of that stuff is just like from the band dynamic. And like, I never would have thought to do some specific thing if like Josh, my keyboard player, hadn't thrown that idea out in rehearsal.
That's cool.
You know, and it feels very special to like have that. Yeah, and speaking of that, I do have a song coming out.
Yes, tell us about this new song. Tell us what the recording process was like, all about it.
Yeah. So the song's called Old Habits.
Okay.
It comes out March 12th, which is
That'll be just a few days after this is released. Is that a Sunday night, Saturday?
I think it's a Sunday.
Yes,
it's a Sunday.
This is, if you're listening to this the day it came out, this is March 9th. So it's coming out here in just a few days on the 12th.
Exciting. Yeah. So I am so stoked about this song. It's like by far my favorite that I have released.
Did you write it by yourself?
So I wrote this with James Robert Webb.
I know James Robert Webb.
You know James?
I do know James.
Oh my God.
James played the first ticketed show, or the first band show I ever booked in Nashville. He opened for my band.
No way.
Yep.
Okay, well, he's awesome.
He's a great dude.
He's such a great guy. I haven't seen him in so long because I think he's in Oklahoma most of the time. But we got connected through some people we knew and set up a write together. And I was walking into that like, I know this guy's a country writer. Like, I don't expect anything.
He's
and
a very traditional country dude.
He is. But the song, when you hear the song, you're going to be like, wow, that's interesting, because it has none of that. But yeah, so I loved that song the day we wrote it. I was like, I'm obsessed with this.
So when did you write that?
Oh God, this must have been summer of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Which is also, for the people listening, it's okay to wait to act on a song that you love. Make sure that the timing is right.
Yeah, I think at the time, I was working on a lot of stuff, and also kind of in between producers and figuring out like where I wanted to go with my sound, like kind of back to what we were saying before. But I ended up starting to work with Ryan Connors, who is a fantastic producer and keyboard player here in town. And we started working together on Vegas, which we wrote together, which came out in September.
Last fall, yeah.
Yeah, September. And so I brought this song, Old Habits, to Ryan, and I was just like, I've been wanting to record this. Like, I'd been playing it with my band, and like the version that we did as a band was like kind of similar, but a little bit different. And I gave all that stuff to Ryan, and I was like, I don't know, like, let me know what you think of this. I like come back to his house like a week later or whatever, and he plays me this like demo kind of thing that he got from the song I sent him. And it was this like groovy sort of like swung Erykah Badu type like neo soul beat. And I was like, this is awesome. I never would have thought of this myself.
That's
and
awesome.
It works so well with the song. I was like, I'm obsessed. We just need to get a
right
band.
Producer for the right song. There's right and wrong people for everything. And if you just get that right song with the right producer, then magic just happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's like what it felt like. And I was just blown away when we got to the studio and got a bass player, drummer, and guitarist to play on the song. They got it done in like a few takes. Incredibly talented guys. And yeah.
Who were some of the early influences that brought you to the style of music you play now?
Definitely jazz.
Okay.
I mean, like, I've always been really drawn to like Ella Fitzgerald and Nina Simone and like Sarah Vaughan. I think like Amy Winehouse too is a pretty big influence on me. But like as far as like the R&B sound goes, like I didn't really even listen to like D'Angelo until I was like in college. And I remember like being shown his music and I was like, why haven't I been listening to this yet?
It's not traditionally what like college age girls are just chilling out listen to.
Yeah, I guess. And my parents, like, I grew up listening to surprisingly a lot of country. My parents love country.
I did not hear any country growing up. Like,
what?
I know. My mom listened to some country as a kid, but like my dad was super classical and like I just never got exposed to it. What really got me into music was Guitar Hero, that old PlayStation game.
Oh my God, yes.
Guitar Hero is what got me into it. So I started off with music. Like I had the church music that I knew from my dad, and then that was it. And the first time I heard a Black Sabbath song, I was like, what is that? And how do I make that sound?
Yeah, I had Rock Band. Did you have that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was obsessed. I'm telling you, obsessed with this game, and I would sing. I would do the singing, and I remember like I was singing. I would just, it's like all these rock songs, and I was like 8 years old or something, just singing Weezer, singing Black Sabbath, and my mom is like, Natasha, what are you singing right now? Like, this is not.
I would love to see you cover My Name is Jonas. My name's Natasha.
And I was so into it. I was like, hell yeah.
Gosh, that's not something I ever would have pegged you as a young rock fan.
I guess rock band really exposed us all.
Look at Rock Band. I could never do the drums.
Yeah, I couldn't do the drums either. I was like okay at guitar, but
Really?
I liked singing because I would always get 100%.
I got really into the guitar because of that game. So I'm sitting here talking to you because I was obsessed with Guitar Hero in 2007.
Wow. Thank you, Guitar Hero, for bringing us
to
this special moment.
When is this new song coming out, and are there more to follow?
Yeah, so very exciting. This is a pretty big year for me. I think last year
23 is going to be good for a lot of us.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm so excited and hopeful that like this year is gonna be really big for my career, because I have this song coming out March 12th, and then I have 5 more that I'm like in the process of / almost done recording. And these are all songs that I've been playing out with the band. So, if you've seen some of my shows, you've probably heard some of these songs. And I'm so ready to get them out to people and like have my, Spotify and everything reflect like what I've been working so hard on for so long.
It's hard getting started as a musician, because when you put out that first single, Cold, you have no followers.
Yeah.
And it's just like you see the numbers and you're like, oh, nobody hears it.
Like,
but it does
6
eventually
monthly
start to like one person at a time becomes a fan and they follow you. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, snap, I've got a couple thousand like monthly followers. Like, I can't believe people are listening to my stuff.
Dude, I know. That's like, it's like with every release, I just love kind of experimenting and seeing like what works and what doesn't work. I put like so much effort, like personally, into all the marketing for my last single.
Right.
And I'm like trying to, figure out like what worked and what didn't work and what I think I could do better on this time. So that's always kind of fun for me.
Are you a one-man team? Just you?
Well, so I was working with a marketing company like a while ago, but I'm not working with them anymore. And I just signed on with a booking agent.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's great.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
What would be like the big I made it thing for you? Everyone has different career trajectory goals, but what would be one of those things that if it happened to you, you'd feel like you had reached success?
I think playing at the Ryman.
The Ryman?
Yeah.
That'd be a big one.
That would be a really big one.
If Tour Stop ever does a show there, I'll help out.
Yes. Okay, you can make my dreams come true.
The Ryman, are there any venues that would be like special to you back home?
Yeah, I mean, like there's like Showbox. There's a lot of really great venues in Seattle. And like I've only played a handful of shows there, like little things, because like, I haven't had my band there.
It's hard to get a band that far away. It's
yeah.
like 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles away.
I've just done like little acoustic things there.
Right.
But yeah, I think one day like being able to really do like a full-on real tour.
Mm-hmm.
Because my plan right now with this booking agent I just started working with is to do like an East Coast tour this summer. So we're getting started on that. And I think
cool.
We're going to hit some cities that I've been wanting to play and visit people at for a really long time. So
for people who haven't ever gotten to see you live or have never heard your music, what's something you'd want them to take away from your style? What's that memorable thing that sets you apart from some of the other artists, especially here in Nashville? What's that thing what's your elevator pitch for yourself? That's an easy question.
Such an easy question. I mean, my music is always very real, but it's also fun and soulful.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that like, you're gonna want to like vibe to and be able to, you know, dance to at shows. Like I love having like fun, high energy shows, but at the same time, like I want to always have that element of authenticity in my music where I'm always going to be writing about things that are real and even if it's like a silly, you know, funny love song, it's still something that like I have to really, really connect to. And I think in my live shows especially, I really like making that known. And like, especially with the band, I think we all have kind of a similar view of music where we're just connecting with each other. We're just having fun on stage. Cool. And I think the audience can feel that. And when I feel like I've accomplished that after a show, then I feel like I've done my job and I can go home feeling fulfilled.
That's awesome. Well, where can people find your stuff? Where can we connect with you on the interwebs?
Oh, yes. Well, you can find me on Instagram at Natasha Blaine. And I've also got a Facebook page and a website. And you can also find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube.
What is your website?
It's natashablaine.com.
Nice.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah. So March 12th.
March 12th. We'll have a pre-save link available in the episode description here as well. So you can just click that and save it to your playlists and everything. I will feature it on the tour stop, whatever it is, picks of the week.
Yes.
So we'll give you an extra. Yep. Speaking of Spotify, you can follow us on our Spotify playlist. It features all of the performers who've been on our show's songs. And specifically this week, Old Habits from Natasha Blaine.
Yay.
So follow Natasha. Do you also have a TikTok?
I do have a TikTok. I'm not super active on it.
I think me and you have talked about that off mic about how it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
That's a whole nother episode I could do about TikTok.
I've had episodes on the importance of social media, and I think I should have the devil's advocate episode of like why social media sucks.
Yeah.
So follow Natasha Blaine on all of your everything platforms. Keep an eye out for Old Habits on the 12th, just here in a few days. I guess here in a few days, if you're listening to this the day it comes out. It came out forever ago. If you're listening to this in 2050, who knows? Y'all, thank you so much for checking out the podcast this week. You can follow me at Nashville Tour Stop right on the Instagram. You can follow us pretty much anywhere at Nashville Tour Stop. You can check us out on the web and find all of our live show dates. We've got a bunch of new stuff coming this spring, a bunch of new venues we're going to be working with, booking shows, all original songs all night long. Because if you want to hear Chicken Fried, there is enough of that downtown. I'm glad to be able to bring maybe the next big hit song. So follow all of that. We've also got our podcast Patreon live now. If you'd like to contribute, we've got plans starting at $5, getting you some extra stuff, and we'll support the podcast of me getting out of my living room. Yes, maybe we can have a bona fide studio again. I'm working on that now. That way you don't just have to sit in my living room with me. Thanks, Natasha.
No problem.
But please do follow us, subscribe to us, support us however you see so fit. Share us with your friends. Tell somebody that you think it's great and leave us a 5-star review on your podcast platform. Or if you hated this, I'm surprised you lasted this long, but leave us a 1-star review. That'd be really funny too. I would love to see like 1,000 1-star reviews, because if you saw 1,000 1-star reviews, it'd be like, Jesus, is it that bad? And we'll see if we can't make something like that happen. But thank you for listening this week. Please, though, until the next time, do remember that all roads lead right back here to the Nashville Tour Stop.